Ellen DeGeneres spent nearly 2 decades as daytime television's brightest star. Her simple motto, "Be kind to one another," became more than a catchphrase. It became a movement. She danced her way into millions of homes, brought Dory to life for Pixar, and created a daily show that felt like visiting with your most uplifting friend. But something shifted along the way. Today, at 67, Ellen has stepped back from the spotlight entirely. She's traded her famous studio for a quiet life in the English countryside, far from the cameras and crowds that once energized her. The woman who seemed to have boundless energy now openly discusses her ongoing health challenges. And the host, who built her brand on kindness, found herself facing difficult questions about her show's behind-the-scenes environment. It's a story that goes much deeper than headlines suggest. What led Ellen from small-town Louisiana to global stardom? How did personal struggles shape her path to success? And what can we learn from someone who lived so publicly through both triumph and controversy? Ellen's journey touches on themes we can all relate to: overcoming adversity, finding your voice, dealing with criticism, and navigating the challenges that come with aging. Her story has layers that most people haven't heard about, from her early struggles to her recent personal revelations. If you're interested in understanding the full picture of one of entertainment's most influential figures, I'd appreciate a like to help this story reach others who might find it meaningful. Consider subscribing if you enjoy thoughtful looks at the people who've shaped our culture, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future deep dives. Ellen's story has more insights than you might expect. After leaving the University of New Orleans following her first semester in 1976, Ellen DeGeneres figured that real life might teach her more than any classroom ever could. At 18, she headed back to New Orleans with a pretty simple plan: try out different kinds of work and see what clicked. New Orleans turned out to be the perfect place for someone still figuring things out. The city had this amazing energy that seemed to pulse through everything, and Ellen found herself drawn to jobs where she could meet all kinds of people and really see how the world worked. Ellen's work experience during those early years was incredibly diverse, and that's exactly what she needed. She picked up office skills typing at a law firm, learning how to keep things professional even when everything got busy. At JCPenney, she got really good at reading people, figuring out what customers needed and how to connect with them even during challenging days. She took on creative gigs too, painting house numbers and decorative signs that let her artistic side come out to play. Working as a server at local diners taught her how to manage multiple tasks at once, while tuning into all the fascinating conversations happening around her. She even spent time in hospitality, mixing drinks and becoming the type of person people felt comfortable opening up to. Each job was like taking a masterclass in human nature. She learned what made people laugh, what motivated them, and what they really talked about when they thought nobody was paying attention. Without even realizing it, Ellen was building this incredible database of human behavior that would later become comedy gold. But here's what made Ellen different. She never stopped writing through all of this. She carried around this well-used notebook, constantly scribbling down the interesting, funny, and just plain amusing stuff that happened during her shifts. Her apartment became her personal comedy workshop, where she'd work on timing and delivery in front of the mirror, sometimes running new material past her pets, who were honestly the most supportive audience she could ask for. Those evening practice sessions were where her skills really started developing. Ellen was finding her voice as a comedian, someone who could spot the humor in everyday life while keeping things positive. She had this amazing gift for pointing out the amusing moments we all experience but never think to laugh about. By the early 1980s, Ellen felt ready to find out if other people found her as entertaining as her reflection did. She started performing at small venues around New Orleans, welcoming clubs and local spots where she could develop her craft in a supportive environment. What made her stand out right away was how genuine she felt up there. She wasn't trying to shock people or tear anyone down. She was just sharing these observations that made everyone think, that's exactly what that's like. The local comedy scene started talking about this new performer who brought something completely different to the table. Ellen wasn't just getting laughs. She was creating these moments where audiences felt good about themselves and the world around them. That's not an easy thing to pull off, and the people who knew comedy when they saw it definitely took notice. Pretty soon, word about Ellen was making its way around New Orleans. The comedy professionals and talent scouts who were always looking for fresh voices started hearing about this woman who could take everyday experiences and somehow turn them into genuinely entertaining material. After leaving the University of New Orleans following her first semester in 1976, Ellen DeGeneres figured she'd learn more from life than from lecture halls. She headed back to New Orleans with a simple plan: figure out what she was actually good at by trying a little bit of everything. New Orleans turned out to be the perfect place for someone still figuring things out. The city had this creative energy that seemed to flow through everything, and Ellen found herself drawn to all kinds of work that let her interact with people and see how the world really worked. Ellen's work experience during those years was incredibly diverse. She gained office skills typing at a law firm, learning how to stay professional even when things got busy. She developed customer service expertise, folding clothes at J.C. Penney, mastering the art of connecting with shoppers who were having challenging days. She took on creative projects, painting house numbers and decorative signs that let her artistic side flourish. She worked as a server at local diners, managing multiple tables while observing the interesting conversations that happened over coffee and meals. She even spent time in hospitality, working behind bars and becoming someone people felt comfortable sharing their stories with. Each job taught her something different about people, what made them smile, what they found relatable, what they talked about during their everyday lives. Without realizing it, Ellen was building a mental collection of human experiences that would become the foundation of her comedy. But here's the thing, Ellen never stopped writing during all of this. She carried around this well-used notebook, constantly jotting down observations about the interesting and amusing things that happened during her workdays. Her apartment became her private comedy workshop, where she'd practice her timing in front of the mirror, sometimes running material past her pets, who were probably the most patient audience she'd ever have. Those evening practice sessions were where her skills really developed. Ellen was crafting her voice as a comedian, someone who could find the humor in everyday situations while keeping things positive. She had this gift for pointing out the amusing moments that everyone experiences, but most people don't think to laugh about. By the early 1980s, Ellen felt ready to see if other people found her as entertaining as her reflection did. She started performing at small venues around New Orleans, welcoming clubs and neighborhood spots where she could develop her craft in a supportive environment. Her style stood out because it felt so genuine. She wasn't trying to shock anyone or put people down. She was just sharing observations that made people think, yes, that's exactly what that's like. The local comedy scene started talking about this new comedian who had something different to offer. Ellen wasn't just getting laughs, she was getting the kind of positive responses that made people feel good about themselves and the world around them. That's a valuable skill, and the people who recognized talent when they saw it started paying attention. Pretty soon, Ellen's name was circulating around New Orleans as someone worth watching. The comedy professionals and talent scouts who were always looking for fresh voices began hearing about this woman who could turn everyday experiences into engaging material. By 1985, Ellen had become something of a local favorite in New Orleans. She'd found her groove performing around the city, and people who caught her act always walked away talking about this comedian who had a different kind of energy, smart, relatable, and genuinely funny without being mean about it. But Ellen knew that if she really wanted to make comedy her career, she'd have to find a way to reach people beyond Louisiana. Then, in 1986, she got the phone call that every comedian hopes for. The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson wanted to book her. Now, if you were doing stand-up in the 80s, getting on Carson's show wasn't just another gig. It was the most respected platform in comedy. This was where America met its next generation of comedic talent, and Johnny had this incredible ability to spot people who were going places. Ellen knew this was her big opportunity. She'd watched other comedians use their Tonight Show spots to launch national careers, and she'd been preparing for this moment her whole life without even realizing it. All those years of performing in small clubs, all that time spent figuring out what made people laugh, it was all leading up to this. Walking onto that famous stage in Burbank, Ellen brought everything she'd learned along the way. The people-watching skills she'd picked up during her restaurant days, the timing she'd developed in front of various audiences, and most importantly, that authentic voice that made her different from everyone else doing comedy at the time. Her set was exactly what had made her special back home. She took these perfectly ordinary situations that everyone could relate to and somehow made them hilarious. Ellen wasn't trying to shock anybody or be controversial for the sake of it. She was just showing people how funny life could be, if you looked at it the right way. But here's where the night got really special. After Ellen finished her set, Johnny Carson did something that only happened when he was genuinely impressed. He motioned for her to come over and sit on the couch with him. That famous spot where only the comedians who really connected with the audience got invited. That invitation meant everything. It was Johnny's way of telling the entire country, this person is worth your attention. For Ellen, sitting on that couch represented years of hard work, finally being recognized by someone whose opinion could really make a difference in her career. The impact was almost immediate. Suddenly, Ellen wasn't just the funny woman from New Orleans anymore. She was a comedian with Carson's endorsement. Her phone started ringing with opportunities she'd only imagined, and entertainment industry doors that had been closed to her suddenly swung wide open. Television producers took notice, booking agents started calling, and Ellen found herself being considered for the kinds of opportunities that most comedians spend their entire careers hoping for. The Carson appearance had done exactly what she'd hoped. It had introduced her unique comedic voice to the people who could give her bigger platforms to share it. From that night on, Ellen DeGeneres wasn't just another hardworking comedian anymore. She was a rising star with serious momentum, carrying Carson's endorsement into television auditions and development meetings that would shape the next decade of her career. The woman who used to practice her material in front of bedroom mirrors had just proven she belonged on the biggest stage in comedy. And now Hollywood was ready to see what she could do with even bigger opportunities. Ellen's Tonight Show breakthrough opened doors she'd only dreamed about, and by 1994, she landed her very own sitcom. Simply called Ellen, the show featured her as Ellen Morgan, this wonderfully energetic bookstore owner who made everyday situations both relatable and hilarious. The show was an instant hit. Ellen's character felt like someone you might actually know, dealing with work situations, friendship dynamics, and amusing moments that made great television. The writing captured exactly what made Ellen special, turning ordinary situations like grocery shopping into genuinely entertaining TV. Ellen became must-watch television for millions of viewers. The supporting cast, including Jeremy Piven and Jolie Fisher, created a believable world of friends and co-workers. For 3 successful seasons, Ellen dominated its time slot and turned Ellen DeGeneres from a great comedian into a legitimate television star. But the TV business in the mid-90s was becoming incredibly competitive. New networks were launching everywhere, Cable was expanding rapidly, and viewers suddenly had way more entertainment options than ever before. Shows that used to maintain steady ratings found it more challenging to keep audiences when people had dozens of other quality programs to choose from. Ellen started experiencing the same shifts that affected many successful sitcoms during this evolving period. After a few seasons, exploring new creative directions sometimes led to storytelling approaches that didn't quite connect with the original audience. The whole entertainment industry was going through major evolution, with advertisers becoming more selective and networks constantly updating their programming strategies. All these industry developments created an environment where even successful shows had to adapt to new realities. Ellen experienced the kind of audience changes that became common during this period as it adjusted to the changing TV landscape while delivering the comedy that had made people connect with it originally. In 1998, after 5 seasons, Ellen concluded its successful run. The show had established Ellen as a major television personality, but the evolving entertainment landscape made it time to explore new opportunities that could better serve both her talents and audience expectations. When Ellen ended, it positioned Ellen DeGeneres for the next phase of her career. She'd proven herself as both comedian and TV star, ready to discover new ways to connect with audiences in a business that was constantly creating fresh possibilities. After wrapping up her sitcom in 1998, Ellen explored different entertainment opportunities, voice work, guest spots, and TV projects, while figuring out her next big move. In 2003, Ellen launched The Ellen DeGeneres Show, finding her perfect format. This wasn't just another daytime talk show. It showcased all the qualities that had made her comedy successful. She had genuine interest in people and an amazing ability to find humor in ordinary situations. What set Ellen's approach apart was how she used her platform. She wasn't interested in getting secrets or creating drama for ratings. Ellen wanted to create entertaining content, whether chatting with movie stars or surprising regular folks with incredible gifts. The dancing became as recognizable as Ellen herself. Every episode kicked off with Ellen dancing through the audience, becoming one of the most memorable parts of daytime television and bringing energy to her show. For nearly 20 years, the show performed exceptionally well in daytime TV, earning dozens of Emmy Awards and consistent viewership. Her sign-off, "Be kind to one another," became a recognizable phrase associated with her program, and Ellen's influence went beyond her daily show. She brought Dory to life in Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, and became a preferred host for major award shows like the Oscars, Grammys, and Emmys. The ultimate recognition came in 2016 when President Obama gave Ellen the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in America, recognizing her entertainment achievements and cultural contributions. By 2022, Ellen had created something notable in entertainment history. A daily program that consistently focused on entertaining content over conflict and genuine entertainment over manufactured controversy. For 2 decades, she demonstrated that audiences enjoyed well-produced, positive programming. Ellen's talk show had been a daytime television staple for nearly 2 decades when 2020 brought exciting changes to how the entertainment industry operated. The pandemic didn't just affect how people consumed media. It fundamentally expanded audience interests and viewing opportunities across all platforms. With more people spending time at home, audiences became increasingly curious about understanding how their favorite entertainment programs were created. This interest extended beyond just watching shows to learning about the production processes and the talented teams that brought daily television to life. The entertainment landscape was growing rapidly during this period. Streaming services were expanding, viewing patterns were diversifying, and traditional television formats were innovating to meet fresh audience preferences. Many long-running programs found themselves exploring new approaches to stay dynamic in this expanded media environment. Ellen's show, like many successful programs, began incorporating ways to modernize its operations and production methods. The entertainment industry was embracing new technologies, updated communication practices, and enhanced professional development programs to better serve both audiences and production teams. This period of industry-wide innovation led to operational improvements across many television productions. Companies were investing in upgraded workplace policies, enhanced training programs, and improved management structures to align with advancing industry standards and best practices. Ellen's production team implemented several positive developments during this time, including updated operational procedures and enhanced communication protocols. These improvements reflected broader industry trends toward more collaborative and efficient production environments. When Ellen returned for her 2020 season, she spoke about the program's commitment to continuous improvement and professional growth. This focus on evolution and innovation was becoming increasingly common across the entertainment industry as established programs worked to remain current with expanding opportunities. The television landscape continued growing throughout 2020 and 2021, with audiences exploring new viewing options and entertainment formats. Traditional daytime programming gained exciting competition from streaming content and digital platforms that offered more flexible viewing experiences. During this period of significant industry expansion, Ellen began considering what direction her career should take next. After nearly 20 years of daily television production, she started exploring whether it might be time to pursue different creative opportunities that aligned better with the expanding entertainment landscape. In May 2021, Ellen announced her decision to conclude the show after its upcoming season. She presented this choice as an exciting strategic move to explore new creative projects after achieving remarkable success in daytime television, emphasizing her enthusiasm about discovering what new opportunities awaited in the growing entertainment world. Looking back at Ellen DeGeneres' journey, you can see what she managed to build from pretty straightforward beginnings. This is the kind of career story that shows what's possible when someone combines real talent with consistent effort. Ellen started out working various jobs around New Orleans, developing comedy ideas in a notebook during her breaks, practicing her timing wherever she could. She didn't have industry connections or a predetermined plan, just this natural ability to find humor in everyday situations that most people could connect with. Her career progression was impressive when you trace it through the years. That Tonight Show breakthrough opened doors to sitcom success, which eventually led to her creating what became daytime television programming, The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Each step showed her ability to grow and adapt in an industry that's constantly evolving. The talk show really was distinctive programming. Ellen didn't just interview celebrities and wrap up. She created this daily experience that people genuinely enjoyed. The dancing, the surprise segments, the way she made both famous guests and regular people feel comfortable. It all added up to television that consistently delivered entertainment value. Ellen's entertainment resume is quite substantial. Beyond the talk show success, she brought Dory to life in those popular Pixar movies, and she hosted major award shows with the kind of natural skill that made even the most formal events feel engaging and accessible. The recognition she received, including that Presidential Medal of Freedom, wasn't just about entertainment success. It was acknowledgement that she'd influenced American culture through her programming choices. That's significant recognition in the entertainment industry. When Ellen decided to conclude the talk show after 20 years, it represented a business decision that many successful entertainers make eventually. Continue with established success or explore new creative opportunities while at the peak of their career. She chose exploration, which demonstrates strategic thinking about long-term career development. Today, Ellen's impact on entertainment is measurable. She changed how daytime television operated, influenced comedy formats, and created programming that became part of millions of people's daily viewing habits. That's substantial professional achievement in the entertainment industry. Ellen's story demonstrates something valuable about success in entertainment. It requires talent, but also persistence, strategic thinking, and the two connect with audiences in ways that feel genuine rather than manufactured for commercial purposes. What Ellen accomplished throughout her career, from those early comedy venues to network television success to cultural recognition, demonstrates what happens when someone develops their professional abilities and shares them with audiences who appreciate quality entertainment programming. What aspect of Ellen's entertainment career do you find most noteworthy? Her comedy development, her talk show format innovation, or her ability to maintain relevance across different decades of television programming? Share your thoughts in the comments. It would be interesting to hear which aspects of her professional journey you found most impressive. If you enjoyed this comprehensive look at one of television's most recognizable entertainment figures, subscribe for more detailed explorations of the people who've shaped our media landscape. Thanks for watching, and here's to appreciating quality entertainment development.